Assalamu alaikum. Many happy returns of Ramadan. Inshallah, I'll be alive to come to speak to you next year. The title of my talk, Diversity in Religion Helps Social Integration and Cohesion. Very strange title. But that's what the government wants. That's what 2 billion, the Commonwealth. You know, we are part of the Commonwealth. And we have a meeting every second week of March with those people, 52 countries. And all the mess that you can see between people and religions. So the theme of the talk is what I have given you here. I have given it before in February to another group, a charity. And the charity, half of the members are Muslims and the other half other religions. So my lecture included ayahs from the Bible, Hindu, everything under the sun. Now I am lucky that I'm in Ramadan and I can stick to our Holy Quran. And let us see, what does this mean? You see, the ayah in the Quran is very clear. لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَ دِينِ. So don't argue with me. Don't fight me. I have got my religion, you have got yours. Simple. And not only that, كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله يقال سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. All the messengers of Allah are the same. And the people who believe in what comes from God, they are the same. There's no need for fights. Next please. إن الذين آمنوا والذين هادوا والنصارى والصابئين من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر وعمل صالحا فلهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. So not only your religion is mine, is yours, and mine is mine. No, all these messengers and all these people have got their beliefs. And we have got to respect them all. And it's nothing to do with us. None of our business. Next. Now this is the statistics of religion in England. You see the Muslims, well, the Christians are 59.49. The Muslims are 4.41. The Hindu are 1.32. The Sikh are 0.56. And so on. So that's the percentage of people with different religions. The amazing part, if you look at the end, you find that the Christians come down 10% from the last statistics. The Christians changed. So they lost 10% of the population of England to become non-Christians. The people with no religion are 35%. I mean, can you believe it? Somebody who doesn't believe in God. I don't believe it. I don't believe that they have no religion. They just don't want to be involved. And they must believe in a God of some description. But there is 35%. 25 and something have no religion, and the rest did not bother to say what they are. Now, ancient Egypt are one of the very old countries in existence. And I've had gods. All these in front of you are gods. I am Egyptian by birth. You get out of your house and you walk, and you find the sky, and you find the mountain, and you found the river, and you say to yourself, who made all this? Must be a God somewhere. So you make one. Well, you can't find gods, so you make your own. And that's how they were. Next, please. This professor, she goes and studies the ancient Egyptian monuments, and she is a professor of Egyptian antiquities in Leeds. In York. And the BBC too gave her a chance of 4 lectures, 1 a week. Everyone is 1 hour. Amazing. Amazing information. Just confirm what I say. All these findings. You go out your house and you find who made them? Where's the God that made them? There isn't one, I make one. Another civilization which is very old, like the ancient Egyptians, is the Chinese. They are the first people who found silk. You know this silk, cloth. The next bit. This empress, she was sat down, and from the tree, a cocoon fell down in her teeth. And the cocoon became threads, and became silk. And she made the first silk in the world. How long ago? 2,640 years ago. What is it, before Christ? BC, before Christ. So that civilization goes right back nearly 6,000 years. And they exported the silk everywhere in the world. And the map that I showed you earlier on is the map where the silk went. By ships, by animals, by every technique. Next, please. These are the Chinese gods. Next, please. And as I was saying, the Egyptians and the Chinese were celebrating their religions and their civilization together. And they made the celebration in Luxor Temple, the Temple of Luxor, which is made by ancient Egyptians. I couldn't get you any pictures or things because I was forbidden, contains dancing and so on. So my picket said no. Next, please. I thought at this stage, because some of you belong to different faiths, and they are with the mosques with us, and they leave us. And I just put here, can you just listen to this before you go? Please. I'm a descendant of the Prophet. My great-grandmother is Fatima al-Zahra. And my great-grandfather is Ali ibn Abi Talib. So, am I Shia Muslim? I'm sure I'm not. I'm just a Sunni. I'm just a normal Muslim. So why make differences? Why make differences? Next one. And because the messengers of Allah came down in succession, and I was brought up in a very religious family. My father was the dean of Quran and Arabic for the whole of Egypt, and prayers every day, fasting twice a week, and I just don't know what to believe. And I used to say, I shouldn't really say these things to my father, we are all going to heaven, and the Prime Minister of England is going to heaven. But that's not the feeling, and that's not the meaning, because I've just told you earlier on that everybody has his religion, and every faith has its respect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, I started working with my wife about something that nobody can say that this work is not from Allah. And you see, I'll give you an example that will come later. We can't, one of the books that we have, not this one is His Throne Was on Water. And when we published it in America, there was no water in the universe. Now, we know there is water. After the book came out, 3 years later, the water was found everywhere in the universe. And this book is in Arabic and in English. And the people in the United States have made it available so you can download it without paying a penny, which is something I'm very pleased about. The next book Science Miracles, No Sticks or Snakes. We haven't got a stick that becomes a snake. We have no snake that becomes a stick. So what about our religion? What proves our religion is ours? That is from Allah. And the people here and abroad, they stop me in the street and say, give us a verse that proves that the Quran is from Allah and not from somewhere else. And I will give you 2 verses like this during my presentation today. I hope you stay with me. So that's our second book. We've got several books, but those are the ones that are in the States, and you can actually download them. I'm not sad that people are doing it, because I never did these things for money. This is a present from Allah, and from me, from Him, to yourselves. I have got a verse that starts in the Quran from the beginning, and it goes through until the end. من كل شيء خلقنا زوجين لعلكم تذكرون. Everything we made it in pairs. Next week. وأنه خلق الزوجين الذكر والأنثى فجعل منه زوجين الذكر والأنثى. Next. والأرض مددناها وألقينا فيها رواسي وأنبتنا فيها من كل زوج بهيج. Next. سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها ومما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون. Of what you don't know, he still made pairs. Next. And these two ayahs are two of the treasures of the Quran. You look at them. إن هو إلا ذكر للعالمين ولتعلمون نبأه بعد حين. So it's dhikr for the whole world, and you will know what it means later. So don't worry yourself if you can't understand the Quran. Just hang on. Give Allah time, subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He will explain to you what that means in the Quran. And the second ayah, which is magnificent, لكل نبأ مستقر وسوف تعلم. Every news in the Quran has got a mustaqar. It has got a meaning, and you will know what it is eventually. In other words, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put all this science in the Quran and asked us to be patient so we can understand what all these sciences mean. Next. So, my wife just made what he said. كل شيء. Animals, lions, small animals, plants, fish, everything. He said he made them in pairs. And not only that, he said in a verse, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ أَفَلَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. And that he made everything of two pairs. And you see the picture under those. The constituents of water, H2O, and the constitution of the nucleus of the matters, of the elements. And the same thing in here, on this side. You will find a picture of the DNA that I will mention now what it is and how he made it. Next. One of the secrets of Allah, creation of man, animals, plants, and all living things, is water and DNA, which Allah has placed in the smallest structure of these creatures. See, He put them in the smallest structure, in the nucleus. I want to say something in passing to the colleagues who are taking pictures. My lecture is always on the YouTube. So it will be on the YouTube. I got the professor of computers here, and he's taking everything and sending it to the clouds. I mean, I don't understand this technology. If you want to ask him after the lecture, but he's taking me, my sound, my voice, everything that's happening here, and he's sending it to the clouds. And it will be collected by my wife later on, and it will be made to go on the YouTube. So I'm just saying that for people who are taking pictures. Next. أولم يروا الذين كفروا أن السماوات والأرض كانتا رتقا. You know what's the meaning of رتقا? رتقا, when you have a socks and it's torn, and you take it and your wife sits slowly and try and close the gap raf, raf. And Allah has separated them. ففتحناهما وجعلنا من الناس كل شيء حي أفلا يؤمنون. And He made everything alive from water. So no life without water. Next. And then, of course, we got those two famous guys who discovered the molecular structure of nucleic acid. Watson and Crick were the first people to describe the structure of the nucleus. Next. And we can see now that inside the nucleus we find the building blocks of man, animal and plants, which are very rich in water. And you can see these molecules that our kids know them by heart. Very common. Something became very common and very well understood. Next. The DNA is inside most cells, is a nucleus that contains a complete set of the body's blueprints known as the human genome. And that's a picture of the nucleus. And the human body contains 75 trillion cells. Each one of us have got 75 trillion cells. Next. And that's the structure of the DNA. The DNA speaks to another structure of molecules called the RNA, and the RNA give orders to make the protein. We can't live without protein. Next. And the DNA has got 4 amino acids, guanine and thymine, and they both attach to cytosine and adenine. And they variate. This attached to that, that attached to this, and so on. And that's how we are all different. Next, please. The length of the base pair in each human cell is 3 billion base pairs. This is very important for you to know, because there is a new discovery only made 3-4 years ago in Oxford or Cambridge. Sorry? In Cambridge. They have used the DNA base, the stumper, as a base of a computer. They have put all the information of Shakespeare on a piece of DNA. The piece of DNA is made synthetic. Right? It's just amazing. The British are amazing. They start all inventions in the world. Sometimes they don't finish. Next, please. And so, we will put all the data in the world is going to be on the creation of Allah, the DNA. A piece of thingy from a human being, but made synthetic, is going to be the store for all what you can see here, all these computers, information, and everything. $1 billion terabyte of data can be stored on 1 gram of DNA. One can be stored on 1 gram of DNA from a human being. And this amount is called a zettabyte, which is 1 and 21 zeros. And in 2009, it was estimated that the entire content of the World Wide Web was half a zettabyte. People now understand computers. You see how this is amazing. Now we are going to store all the data of the world on the DNA. I'm just saying all these because they are all new things. I want you to be up to date and to know the fantastic power of Allah. From Allah. The DNA came from Allah, from the human being. And the Microsoft announced in April 2016 that it will team up with the University of Washington and Twist Bioscience to produce 10 million strands of synthetic DNA. So, that's amazing that all this comes from the DNA. From the simple ayah which says, we created everything in earth. I will move now from human beings, animals, plants, DNA, into space. To see whether what he said about he created everything in space is correct or not correct. Next please. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala استوى إلى السماء وهي دخان قال لها وللأرض آتيها طوعا أو كرها قالتا أتينا طائعين فضاهن سبع سماوات في يومين وأوحى في كل سماء أمرها وزينا سماء الدنيا بمصابيح وحفظا ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم. So how did he create all this? How did he create that? Next please. There is smoke in space. So where does the smoke come from? Is there smoke in the space? Where is it coming from? Next. And that's the smoke in space. I'm trying to show you the picture of the truth that the smokes are there. We saw it by Hubble telescope. I will show you Hubble telescope in a minute. And the smoke is there. It's not a joke and it's not a fallacy. Next. This came from atom weights. Small objects, smaller than atom weights. Just to let you know how small is small. A human hair is about 1 million carbon atoms wide. 1 million carbon atoms, a hair. Next please. وإن من شيء إلا عندنا خزائنه وما ننزله إلا بقدر معلوم. كل حاجة, everything Allah has got, stores of it. And He doesn't get it out just haphazard. He gets it out when He wants to. Next please. وما تكون في شيء وما تتلو منه بالقرآن ولا تعملوا من عمل إلا كنا عليكم شهودا إذ تفيضون فيه وما يعزب عن ربك مثقال ذرة في الأرض ولا في السماء ولا أصغر من ذلك ولا أكبر إلا في كتاب مبين. So he talks now about the dharra. A dharra, smaller or bigger. And everything is in a kitab mubin, is in a book. Nothing is haphazard. Next. And then just in case you think it is accidental, the ayah, no, he put another ayah to say more or less the same. That وَلَا يَعْزُبُ عَنْهُ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَلَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Mithqal is the weight, atomic weight. This atomic weight, we only knew it about 40 years ago. Well, the dharra is a small thing. But to know that it's got a weight, mithqala zarratin, or azghar, or akbar, except it is in a book, fi kitabin. Next. And this is a research that took the world thrice, the standard model and the four forces of nature. And he took the Nobel Prize in 2004, where they found that the force that is holding the atom structure together is 10 to the power 41, millions of times bigger than the force of gravity. How he put all this force inside the atom? And then they looked into the atom, they found that it's also made inside in pairs. So that you just realize that I'm not lying to you. It's not just the pairs in human beings or animals or plants. No, it's inside the atom. Any atom. Human, plant, animal. And inside the atom are things called quarks. And they give them colors. So every quark, green, it's got its anti-green. And there is red and anti-red. There is yellow and anti-yellow. Amazing, the power of Allah. So that's the pairs are still going stronger. Next. And that is Hubble telescope, which we send out into the empty space and area in the universe. An area which we have never been before. And what did we find? Next. We find that that's where the stars are made. Next. And we found also the galaxies. The universe, all our world is one galaxy, which I will show its picture in a minute. The Milky Way. But the world is full of galaxies. There are 13,000 millions of them in the universe. Next please. And this is how the star is made. Next. And this is the Milky Way. That's our galaxy. This is our galaxy. And you can see it has got millions of stars. And we are on one of the arms of the galaxy. Next. Next. And these are the planets. And you can see we are number 3 in these planets. And of course, there is a very big description for each one of them. Next. This man is a professor of physics that Allah took from him his speech and his movement and left him without. But he's a genius. He said that the world, we thought that the world is empty. He said the world is not empty. The world is full of little particles. And the little particles have got a pair, have got an antiparticle. Next, please. And they form very nicely in the black hole. What's this black hole? The black hole is the place where the star disintegrates. After the star is used, switched off, it leaves a place called the black hole. And the particles and the antiparticles, they go inside, they disappear. But the new discovery is that these do not disappear. They actually can go through and come from the other side to another world. And Stephen Hawking went and gave the lecture of the year 2000 to the President of the United States. He doesn't talk. So how did he talk? He talked through a computer that we made for him. And I will make you listen to him now talking.
As I was getting into bed. My disability makes this rather a slow process, so I had plenty of time. Suddenly, I realized that the area of the event horizon must always increase with time. The increase in the area of the event horizon was very reminiscent of a quantity called entropy, which measures the degree of disorder of a system. It is a matter of common experience that disorder tends to increase with time if things are left to themselves.
So that's how he gave his lecture to the President of the United States. He's still a professor of physics in Cambridge, and he still discovers new theories. Next, please. And then this is a story, an example of the diversity of religion. The people were sat down on the beach in Tunisia, and another people from another sect went and shot them, killed them. And one of them, Colin Bidwell, didn't know what to do. So when he left, came to England, he went to church. He didn't find satisfaction. He went to the mosque. He went to this mosque, the Imam Hashmi at the Shah Jahan Mosque. I'm just trying to show you that human beings now are looking for each other to help one another, to try and understand what is happening in the world and why. Next. I am privileged to go and speak to different religions and different nations. So I go to churches everywhere you can imagine. I go and speak very frankly, very truly, and I don't attack anybody. Let us see now. I say here, that the civilization of Egypt is about 7,000 years, and the civilization of the Bible is 6,000 years. And I promise not to open this subject. But the Jewish book gives the date for Adam and Eve at 3,790 years. And that's what makes the whole history of Christianity 6,000 years. But there were people before that, before Adam and Eve. Where they come from? Anyway, I'm not going to go to this subject because I don't want to upset my wife. I promise to stay away. Next. And as I mentioned to you, these pictures produced on the computer by my wife is just to reflect what it is said. I told you that here Prophet Moses is shown as light, and that's where he actually transferred a stick into a snake and a snake into a stick. Remember, all these things are lovely if you can see them, but if you have never seen them, how can you prove that these things happen? And that's why we went to science in the Holy Quran. Then you don't have to prove that this stick became a snake or the snake became a snake. Next please. وألقى عصاه فإذا هي ثعبان مبين ونزع يده فإذا هي بيضاء ناظرين. وأوحينا إلى موسى أن اضرب بعصاك البحر فانفلق فكان كل فرق كالطود العظيم. Next. And this is again another picture created by computer by my wife to show the people how Prophet Moses split the waters and allowed the people to go through. Next please. وإذ فرقنا بكم البحر فأنجيناكم وأغرقنا آل فرعون وأنتم تنظرون. Next please. وجاوزنا ببني إسرائيل البحر فأتبعهم فرعون وجنوده بغيا وعدوا حتى إذا أدركهم الغرق قال آمنت أنه لا إله إلا الذي آمنت به بنو إسرائيل وأنا من المرسلين. Next. This is again another picture that created by my wife. The area in Suez is all full of tornadoes, like United States, California. And you know tornadoes always grow in groups. So she imagined that if 13 tornadoes came suddenly onto the Suez Canal, there was no Suez Canal, the area of Suez, which had the water, and split them into 13 tunnels for the 12 tribes of Israel, that should be all right. That's the imagination. Next. And then in the walls of Egypt, you can see Ramses II presenting his firstborn son to Abbas on the left, and Isis, far right, Exodus. At midnight, the Lord struck down all the firstborn in Egypt, from the firstborn of the pharaohs. You see, pharaohs, Allah decided to kill the firstborn. Again, all these are stories present on the walls. We don't know, we can't say it's not true, because there's so many thousands believed in them and acted on them. Next please. إن الذين آمنوا والذين هادوا والنصارى والصابئين. I said this verse before. They're all equal in front of Allah. قالت الملائكة يا مريم إن الله يبشرك بكلمة منه اسمه المسيح عيسى ابن مريم وجيها في الدنيا والآخرة ومن المقربين. Next please. And then this is the verses that give the story of Prophet Jesus. I will just say the beginning of it and I shan't continue. واذكر في كتاب مريم إذ اجتبت أهلها مكانة شرقية اتخذت من دونهم حجابا وأرسلنا إليها روحنا فتمثل لها بشرا سويا. This is the story of how Prophet Jesus was promised to Virgin Mary and how she became pregnant in him and so on. Next please. And then the miracles of Jesus. In fact, there is more miracles in the Quran than in the Bible. And he says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَرَسُولًا إِلَى بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ أَنِّي قَدْ جِئْتُكُمْ بِآيَةٍ مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ أَنِّي أَخْلُقُ لَكُم مِّنَ الطِّينِ هَيْئَةَ الطَّيْرِ فَأَنفُخُ فِيهِ فَيَكُونُ طَيْرًا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ وَأُبْرِئُ الْأَكْمَهَ وَالْأَكِمَّةَ وَالْأَبْرَصَ وأحيي الموتى بإذن الله وأنبئكم بما تأكلون وما تدخرون في بيوتكم إن في ذلك لآيات لكم إن كنتم مؤمنين. So all these descriptions of what Prophet Jesus can do are more than one written in the Bible. Next. And then the story of Jesus going through Egypt is a long one with long events, and if you are interested in these things, you can see it all on my site. It's all described there on the YouTube. Next please. And then the problem of what happened to Prophet Jesus at his death. There is a discrepancy of how he died, and we say that he was taken out and removed to heaven. The Bible doesn't say it. Next. And then there is a hadith that confirms that Prophet Jesus, as one of the 10 signs of the end of life, is going to come down. And that is the hadith in front of you. The descendant of Jesus, son of Mary, is mentioned in this hadith. You've got its number and where it is, and you can review it anytime. Next, please. I will finish. I think you say, thank God he's going to finish. I will finish with a visit that I had to Muslims, Christians, and Jews in Palestine. As you know probably that I'm a professor in London University, and I was elected to go and present England in this conference about antibiotics. I am very lucky that I introduced augmentin, ciprofloxacin, and ceftazidime. Now we'll talk about سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا إنه هو السميع البصير. Next, please. This is Mecca in the past, and the story is that the Prophet, peace be upon him, was lying into the void under the Mecca building when he was visited by Jibreel and was taken by the Buraq to the Dome of the Rock. And the Dome of the Rock is amazing. Next, please. This is the Dome of the Rock inside. Next. And this is the rock in the Dome of the Rock. Next, please. And that's how it looks from above. Next, please. And that's where I went. I prayed in this lovely room where Prophet Muhammad met Sayyidina Jibreel, and he was taken by the Buraq up to the universe to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Next. And this little building at the top, for those who have been, they know that this is a site of where the Buraq was. The story is that the Buraq was put there. What is this Buraq? I used to ask my father, what is the Buraq? He said the Buraq is a flyer, a ta'ir that can fly. It's got very, very strong eyesight, that he looks, and wherever he finds, he puts his leg to get there. That's a description, like a rocket. It's not a bird that can use his eyesight. We're talking here electronics. Next, please. When the Prophet went to the skies, he saw several prophets on his way. I can't remember them. I read them for you, and probably you can see them better than me. In the first sky, he saw Adel being shown in the souls of the descendants. The second sky, he saw Jesus and John. Third sky, he saw the handsome Joseph, son of Jacob. The fourth sky, he saw Idris. The fifth sky, he saw Moses, older brother, Harun. The sixth sky, Muhammad met a tall man with a hooked nose, and Jibreel said it was Moses. In the seventh sky, Muhammad saw an old man in a seat by the gate to paradise, where 70,000 angels pass through each day, but do not return until Judgment Day. Gabriel identified him as Abraham. See how fantastic. It's unbelievable. It's very unbelievable. The important person, all these, they're all important. But Moses is important because he waited for the Prophet to go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and have his orders to make our prayers 50. And he went down, and Moses said, how many prayers you have? He said, 50. Good. No, you can't. Go back. And he kept sending him back until he reduced the prayers from 50 to 5. I mean, these are the stories that you read it in references. Nobody saw it. I want to show you now these ayats. إنه ظن أنهم لم يحققوه بل إن ربهم كان به بصيرا فلا أقسم بالشفق والليل وما وسق والقمر إذا اتسق لتركبن طبقا عن طبق. You are going to go onto stages. You will fly from one place to the other. Where? How can you fly? Stage to fly. Next, please. And now this verse. فمن يريد الله أن يهدي يشرح صدره للإسلام ومن يريد أن يضله يجعل صدره ضيقا حرجا كأنما يصعد في السماء. I mean, you tell me, who would describe somebody's chest that it became ضيق, narrow, حرجا, embarrassed, as if he is climbing into space, elevated into space? This is a description of a rocket climbing into space. Next picture, please. And that is the ayah that when they say to me, give us an ayah that will tell us that the Quran scientifically is from God, I will give them this ayah. Please, before to me again. Okay. Please remember, it's from Surah Al-An'am, Surah 6, verse 125. ومن أجعل صدره ضيقا حرجا كأنما يصعد في السماء. Please remember it. This is one ayah in the Quran that proves that the Quran is from Allah. Because who can describe the movement of a rocket in the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, unless he is a prophet, unless that his Quran is correct? Next, please. And this is the Masjid al-Aqsa. Next, please. And Masjid al-Aqsa became a site for Muslims because all the prophets collected and Prophet Muhammad led them in prayers. So that makes Masjid al-Aqsa a religious mosque for Muslims. Next. Next. Now, my story with the Jews. This is the Masad. It's a rock, it's a mountain, where 960 Jews, next, were on the top. Next. And the Romans surrounded the mountain and wanted to take them as slaves. And they refused. They decided they will kill each other. And they did. Except two ladies ran away with their kids, 4 or 5. And that's how we knew the story. When I went there, I asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for America. Don't ask me why did I say that. But I went to all these holy places. And I said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, can you do something for me? America. I have been in 4 wars. I did fight everywhere for the good of people, for the good of humanity. And I had operations. One of them is in my elbow. I was unable to move my elbow. I couldn't eat. So when I was in Masada, where I was, I fell. I was wearing a sandal, and I slided with my sandal onto the granite steps, and I fell with all my force on my elbow, and my tears were running, and I knew nothing happened wrong to me. All what Allah has done, He has moved my elbow from stiff elbow to an elbow that I can sit down and eat with you, after I lived mostly all my life with a stiff elbow. Next, please. And this is my x-ray. My colleagues who came with me from England, they insisted to take x-ray to my elbow to prove that this is America. And they have. And then I will finish next with the 2 ayats. Please remember, إذ هو إلا ذكر للعالمين ولتعلمن لما أنفع به. You will understand the meaning later, because Allah descended all this science. لكل نبأ مستقر. Every idea, every news has got a place, and you will be told, you will be informed of that. And I do thank you very much, and I'm sorry that my lecture is too scientific, but we can't hide from science, because our Quran is all science. Every word of the Quran is science. So we can't hide from science. And I'm sorry if I've been a bit heavy in my lecture, but I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. I have got 2 presents. Each present is £10.
I don't know.
I shouldn't tell you. So now you listen to me. What do you think if I said to you, like what happens to me? I'll be in the taxi in Cairo, and the taxi driver, "Are you Dr. Adel Abbas?" I said, "Yes." "How do you know?" "Oh, I saw your program on television, because I have an Arabic program on television, Egypt 27. He said, "All right, you said the Quran is full of science. Can you give us one ayah to prove that the Quran is from God?" So if somebody is awake, can you tell me? I don't want you to tell me the ayah. I just want you to tell me the meaning of the ayah. So what's the ayah? And you can come and have this answer. So who is going to answer me? Come on. Again. بالعربي. قل لي آية واحدة تثبت إن القرآن من عند ربنا، علم من عند ربنا، وما هوش كلام فارغ. هي اقراها. مش لازم تقراها، بس قول لي المعنى. كأنما يصعد في السماء. صعد في السماء. تفضل. استنى بقى. لا استنى بقى. لا استنى بقى. 20 جنيه مني. 20 جنيه مني. الله يزيدك ولا ينقصك. أنا جيت إنجلترا ومعايا 305 جنيه، وبقيت من أصحاب الملايين من 20 سنة. ما شاء الله يزيدك إن شاء الله. كل حلال. كل حلال. إلا من علم الله الحمد لله. واللي يزيدك ولا ينقصك. ففي بقى إن شاء الله كمان 20 غير ال10. عايزين سؤال بقى. عايزين سؤال. ايه؟ لا بعد ما اسأل السؤال. اسأل السؤال.
هذا ما العلم الصواريخ كأنما يصعدوها أثبتوها لأمريكا.
ندور على سؤال. ندور على سؤال.
في الموضوع.
الموضوعات اللي احنا اتكلمنا عليها. الموضوعات اللي احنا اتكلمنا عليها. الموضوع الأولاني تكلمنا عن آية في الهدى. طيب أنا عايز أسأل سؤال بتاع الله سبحانه وتعالى.
يا أخوان شوية.
الأخ اللي لابس أحمر ده أستاذ الكمبيوتر. بيجي معايا زي ما من جامعة لندن.
ما شاء الله هو.
I will tell you the question. Now, I spoke half my lecture about Allah created everything in pairs. So, and I said that there is a new discovery. It came out from Cambridge. Somebody took the DNA, the stump بتاعتها, and made it a store for Shakespeare. It's just impossible. And then the Americans now are going to try and do that for all the data of the world. All right? So the question is, what is the site where they are going to use it as the store? Is the site now? Here you are.
تفضل.
شوف بقول لك